Hello learners, I welcome you all to the third segment of lecture 32. We are discussing the case of Glamis Gold versus United States. In the last two segments, we discussed about the factual matrix of the case. I had to give two segments for the factual matrix because this is a mining project and it involved a lot of factual aspects. In the first segment, we looked at the federal measures, and in the second segment, we looked at the California measures that was relevant to the project. So, in this segment, I want to focus on the procedural issues that had come up before the tribunal looked into the merits of the case. What are the procedural issues? Firstly, there was one objection taken by the US that's referred to as claim of rightness, because the Glamis Gold had alleged the violation of Article 1110 of NAFTA, which deals with expropriation. We've discussed so many NAFTA cases. I think by now you would also have memorized what provision talks about what. So 110 talks about expropriation, and for an expropriation claim, for an investor to make an expropriation claim, there should have been some sort of a governmental action which resulted in taking away of the property. So here what US was arguing was, claimant has not showed any loss that had occurred to Glamis Gold, and therefore this calls for the question of claim of rightness. So for tribunal to find any violation of Article 1110, there has to be breach of Article 1110, right, of Chapter 11 of NAFTA, and it has to show because of that measure of government, it had suffered some sort of a loss, monetary loss and all of that. That has to be shown. So here United States contention was, claimant did not actually suffer any loss, so prematurely they are bringing a case of expropriation. A similar situation was there in the context of a domestic expropriation case. Interestingly, both US as well as Glamis Gold, both of them cited to this case Whitney versus United States. So Whitney again possessed some sort of a mining rights, and then SMERA Act was passed, Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act, and that banned prohibited surface mining with regard to certain areas which affected the mining rights that was possessed by Whitney. So therefore Whitney brought in a case of that its mining rights were taken by the government and then without paying any compensation. So here how did the domestic court, that is a US court, decide the case? They stated that the only economic viable use of the mining rights that was possessed by Whitney was by doing surface mining, because the land on which it was supposed to do the mining, it contained aquifers underneath. So only possibility and economically viable use of the mining rights was to do surface mining, and because of this legislation that cannot happen, therefore this amounted to taking and compensation had to be paid to Whitney. That is a domestic case. So what claimant here did was, they referred to this case and they stated that exactly a similar situation has happened to them as well, and therefore they need to be paid compensation. However, US was saying that case is not applicable because they stated that a governmental action has to be there. Here there was no such governmental action. So both of them refer to this particular case, and what we see here is, then the tribunal also stated that it will look into, it will consider this particular case and it will check, it will examine whether there has been an expropriation or not. So that particular point of time, there were several measures that were taken by the United States. Some of them were taken in October 1999, November 1999, as well as early 2000 as well, which technically fell outside the scope of limitation period, because you can find a limitation period provision in NAFTA itself which states that the 3 years measure can only be challenged, right? So some of these measures were taken long back, so they cannot be used. Then the tribunal also decided that those measures can only be cited for adding to the background context, but any claim cannot be made. In fact, the claimant has also not made any claim with regard to those measures. So the tribunal stated that those will be excluded. So for the purpose of the claim of rightness, what the tribunal stated was, it will look at whether there has been an economic deprivation to the claimant. So it rejected the US contention that the claim was not ripe and therefore it should not proceed to the merits case. The tribunal said that it will look for economic deprivation. So that is how it rejected the US contention also. And then there were some other procedural issues as well. Please read the original award of this case. You will find that there were so many problems with regard to the procedural aspects of document production. In fact, Glamis Coal had asked many documents from the United States, and United States refused to give certain documents. Then certain procedural orders had to be passed by the Glamis Tribunal with regard to the production of documents. So you will get a clarity on how does the production of documents, sort of the rules are applied in the context of investment arbitration in this case as well as in Methanex case. I do hope you remember Methanex case as well. There also there were a lot of issues with regard to production of document, and there also we discussed about Governor Davis. In this case also we discussed that Governor Davis had vetoed Senate Bill 1848 as well, right? Okay, so then coming back to the issue in this case with regard to the document production. So what had happened? So there were certain non-public documents that were with the United States that Glamis Gold wanted. So United States was constantly questioning, why do you need access to all these documents and all of that. So Glamis Gold Tribunal also stated that you first review the documents that are publicly available, then as and when the need arises, we could look at the need if you need access to certain non-public documents. Then here both the claimant as well as the United States, both of them refer to international bar association rules, privilege laws of United States. So tribunal stated that it was little reluctant to sort of pass decision with regard to a domestic law. I mean the privilege laws of United States were under question because United States had taken the defense of work product privilege, client attorney privilege and all of that in order to not give the document to Glamis Coal. So the tribunal stated that it was reluctant to review the domestic laws, but then both the parties actually wanted the tribunal to do that so that a decision can be taken with regard to document production. The tribunal also stated that as and when a need arises for the documents, because tribunal here stated that the material documents will have to be given to the Glamis Coal. So again the problem came up as to what is considered to be material document, what is considered, I mean how do we know this document is material, this document is not material. So complex procedural issues were there, and then this is how the tribunal decided with regard to the question of document production also, as on a need basis it will take a decision during the merit stage as well. So this is how the procedural issues were resolved, and then the tribunal went into the merits stage. So in the next segment, we will look at how did the tribunal decide the question of whether there was a violation of expropriation provision of Article 1110 of NAFTA, and then subsequently we will also look at the claim of violation of fair and equitable treatment clause as well. Thank you.